box. So if you have any questions after we talk today, feel free to give me a call or email me. Now, I'm going to let you guys know, I'm going to give you a ton of information today. For those of you that I have not met before, this is kind of my background and all of my contact information. So if you want to follow me on Insta, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, if you're on Instagram following me, you're going to see a lot of pictures of my smoking hot wife, Kirk. And she's actually on here listening today, along with the financial advisor she works with, Jim Staples. So I mentioned them a little bit earlier, but this is how you can get in contact with me. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go ahead and pull out your phone, because you're going to need your cell phone for what we're going to do today. We're going to give you have a little fun with this. For those of you that have not followed my stats before, I'm covering a 16 county area, including the entire Triangle MLS. This is what was originally the Triangle MLS back in about 1999. This is the 16 county area that it originally covered. If you recall, last spring we added Fayetteville into it. We're going to be adding the Burlington Alamance MLS. And my belief personally, for those of you that are in Wilson, Rocky Mount, Nash County, probably going to be adding your MLS at some point in the next couple of years. So don't be surprised with that. So here's what I need you to do with your phone. Can you guys see the screen okay? Give me thumbs up. Give me thumbs up, little interaction here.
Brian, they wanted you to also know they can see the next slide. It's the notes portion that they can see.
Oh, well, that's not what I want you to be seeing. Crap. All right, hold on a minute. If you can see it, that's fine. So I'm looking at I want you to make sure, are you able to see? Let me get my little gray screen off of there. Now, can you see the entire slide?
What we see is the slide, then the next slide, then the notes on the right-hand side. That's what we're seeing.
Okay, but you can't see my video box that's got all of your smiling faces for those of you that are here. Okay, all right. So just stick with me. We're going to keep rolling. We're not going to take any more of your time. Pull out your cell phone. Send a text. The number that you're sending the text to is 22333. And in the body of the text, type no spaces, Brian Pate 428. Brian Pate 428. We're going to be using that all throughout our segment here. So let's go to our first slide. What was the lowest amount of active listings in the 16 county MLS area? What was the lowest number of listings? All right. You guys are doing real well. The lowest number of listings was actually 1,280 listings on March 15th of last year. That is the lowest I have seen in my 30 years in the business. For those of you that don't know, I was licensed BI before internet. Okay. So my state exam, I actually took in person at Wake Tech. For those of you that are in here, welcome to the dinosaur era. We're talking prehistoric days of real estate, if you follow along. Let's go to our next question. What was the median days on the market for all closed properties in MLS in 2022? This includes resale, new construction, modular, manufactured, townhome, and condo. What do you think the lowest number was? What was the median days on the market? Remember, hint, this includes new construction. Yeah, we got a lot of interaction going on, you guys. That's good. I'm glad to see. And by the way, if you're sitting in front of the computer, will you do me a favor and turn on your camera? Because it's really hard to talk to black screens on the grid. So if you, thanks, JC. What's up, man? How are you? Look at that. You're not wearing a bow tie, man. I've never seen you in a hoodie. Okay, you got it on the shirt. That's good. There's Bobby Carroll. There's Renee Hillman. Looking great as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, guys. It makes it a lot easier. So the answer to this question is that the median number of days on the market was actually 3 for closed properties, 3 days. Remember that includes new construction, which is listed at 0 days on the market. So you have to keep that in mind. I want you to understand very clearly what we are using for our specific numbers. So that's why I want to go through these. Let's go to our next one. What was the median sold price in TMLS in 2022 for all properties? What was the median sold price? Let's see how you guys do on this one. Just send that text with your favorite letter there. Well, we're getting a lot of opinions on this one. Lots of opinions. So for the first time in history, the Triangle MLS broke through the $400,000 mark on the median sold price. The correct answer here is D, $402,970. That was the closed value in that one. So that's where we're seeing it. So this slide, by the way, the slides that I have shown you with the graphs, I'm going to make those available to you. I am going to give them to you via a link in the chat box before we leave today. So don't leave until you've gotten those. These are tweetables, folks. For those of you that don't know, I call them tweetables. It's stuff that you can share on social media. You can take these slides, by the way, and you can R&D them. JC, do you remember what R&D stands for? It does not stand for research and development. It stands for rip off and duplicate. So you can take these, you can put your own logo over the Brian Pate Seminars logo, and you can put them on your own Facebook, InstaChat, Snapagram, whatever you're using for your communication. So have at it. You get to steal these and you get to keep them. See, JC's laughing at me because I accidentally said InstaChat and Snapagram, and he knows that I know better. I'm not quite that old yet. Okay. I do have a very important graph to show you. This is the number of homes sold in the Triangle MLS since 1998. Now, I know that makes me sound really old that I've been keeping an Excel spreadsheet. This spreadsheet, to give you an idea, started on Lotus 123, for those of you that are that old. So Bobby Carroll, I'm talking to you. Lotus 123 sheets. I see Renee laughing too. She gets it. But this is a graph of how many homes have sold in the Triangle MLS over the last 25 years. And as you can see, we are still in the peak mode where we've been. 2017 was actually the beginning of the high growth levels, but let's go back and look a little bit. In 1998, we sold 16,213 homes. The next low back down in that range was in 2011. If you were a realtor between 2007 and 2009, God love you, you're still here, the heart's still pumping, we're still good. It was really difficult time. We saw inventory jump to its highest levels in those days. Active inventory in late 2010 and early 2020, or excuse me, 2011 was actually almost 20,000 active homes for sale. 19,906 was the highest point that I've ever recorded. In 2017, we broke through the 40,000 homes sold barrier for the first time. A lot of people have said, hey, the market's crazy right now. We sold 48,000 homes in 2021. Oh my God, it's dropped this year. But guess what? We're at the same levels that we were in 2017 and 18. So if you hear realtors saying, oh, the market's terrible right now, pardon me, this is a Brianism. They're full of shit. The market is still good, folks. Okay, for those of you that I offended, I apologize. It's just Brian being Brian. I'm not in a CE class today, so I don't have to follow any rules. I'm here to make Arielle smile and see her laughing. So that's the whole point of this. But if somebody's telling you that the market's terrible, you need to get on your horse, start calling your sphere of influence again, and start connecting with people, because the market is still good. We're still going to sell about 39 to 40,000 homes this year in the Triangle MLS. So don't be sitting on your keister. Take your opportunities and make something of them. All right. Let's have some fun and let's talk about the people that you're working with today. What was the average or what was the age of the typical first-time home buyer in 2022? Let's see what you guys think here. I'll give you a hint. In 2021, it was 33 years old. So let's see how you do here. Give you about
Brian,
5 more seconds. Yes, go ahead.
We can see the answers on the next slide.
Well, yeah, some things happen, and yet some people are still getting it wrong. That's the scary thought. See, Roxanne's smarter than everybody. She's looking at the answers. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're still dealing with that. But
oh, okay.
So here's your answers, folks. First-time home buyers made up 26% of the marketplace last year, down from 34%. Typical first-time home buyer was 36 years old. That's a jump of 3 years. We're starting to see families starting later. We're going to talk a little bit. Let's talk about the demographics here. 61% married. 17% of recent buyers were single females. So all the single ladies, all the single ladies. You don't need to take pictures of the screen. I'm going to send you all these slides, everybody. So I see you, Melissa Schwartz, taking photos. You don't need it. I'm going to send you all of this information. You're going to get to download all of this data in a Word doc. So stop writing, stop taking notes, stop doing other stuff, and just listen and watch, because I'm going to give you everything here. So single ladies, you're 17% of the home buyers last year. 9% single males, because we're not as smart as you are. 10% were unmarried. All the people living in sin, starting to buy houses together, have babies before marriage. Fine. Do you, it doesn't matter. But this is the highest share of unmarried couples that we have ever recorded. Again, amongst those first-time buyers, 18% of them unmarried. So you need to be prepared to have those discussions. Remember, we can't give legal advice on whether to own as tenants by the entirety, joint tenants, or tenants in common, but you need to have the discussion so that we make sure if they're owning the property as tenants in common, they need to have a will. If they own as joint tenancy, they have the right to choose that survivorship. You can give them options on that and explain to them, and then make sure that they speak to an attorney. Remember, be very careful not to give away any attorney advice. Our license does not handle that. All right. What percentage of senior home buyers age 16 up purchased a condo? Let's see how you do on this. Aha. I'm going to get you on this one because the answer is not on the screen this time. He's getting sneaky. Okay, we got a couple people said 8%. All right. Neil Gallagher's in the waiting room. Neil Gallagher is now in the building. Yeah. So there's a lot of different questions on this, as far as, we automatically think that people that are getting older are going to buy a condo. Well, it's pretty amazing, because most of them, most of our seniors, they're buying single family homes, folks. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. So 12% purchase new construction. 12% purchase new construction. 1 out of every 10 or better is purchasing new construction. If you're not, on your days that you don't have anybody to show houses to, you need to go out and be looking at property. You need to go out looking at every new home community that you can find. Seniors related to the housing market remain steady at 7% for buyers over 60. 17% purchased condominiums. 17 purchased condominiums. 8% purchased townhouses or row houses, but 75%, 3 out of every 4, are still buying single family homes. So Truhomes, make sure you got those ranch plans. I know that lots are getting smaller, but if somebody were to build a ranch plan right now with 14 to 1,500 square feet with a 1-car garage and put it on the market at about $275,000 to $300,000 with a 1/10 of an acre lot, boom, done, gone, choo, 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 choo. It's like throwing all the deck of cards out. So be aware of that. Average distance moved, this increased too. It was only 15 miles for the past 3 or 4 years. The distance moved was now 50 miles. People are moving away from urban centers. People are moving out. Why? So they can get more land. So developers are doing a lot higher density development these days. So what was the most important factor in location? What was the most important factor? Let's see how you do on this. There's a hint on your screen if you're not looking. All right, you guys are slowing down on your responses here. You guys texting friends or what? What's going on here? If you're looking down, if you're trying to hide and you're looking down at your crotch, I'm hoping you're on your phone. That's all I'm saying. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. So 49% of home buyers said quality of the neighborhood is the most important factor. Here's the challenge as a realtor. Your definition of quality and their definition of quality may be different. So you got to get back to asking questions. You got to get back to asking the questions. Of course, being around people that you know, like, and trust has always been a big deal. It's still up there. Here's some interesting information. This is something you can give to your buyers. In 2022, buyers were purchasing the home at 100% asking price, and more than a quarter paid more than asking price in 2022. Largest numbers ever in this case. This is the best tweetable. This is the best tweetable that I think I have on here. So if you're not catching this one, pick it up. The typical home purchased was 1,800 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, built in 1986. So if I were a Truhomes new construction person, I'd be taking this to my higher up saying, hey, here's some statistical data. We may want to be 100 to 200 square feet below and maybe 200 to 300 square feet above this, and we can sell more homes. You can take this information and use it, folks. This is where you have to talk about realism to your prospective buyers. So make sure you're having that discussion. All right. I love this one. I love this one. What percentage of recent buyers found their agent to be very useful or somewhat useful as an information source? Do all 4 of those numbers look low to you, by the way? Oh, there's someone with a total lack of confidence in the realtor community at 57%. We got a little bit of everybody answering on this one. Yeah, notice the answer is not on the coming screen, so you can't see that. See, I was worried that might happen, so I blocked some of these. All right, I give you the answers here in a couple seconds in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, so it looks like you guys have said 72 or 57%. So let's give you some stats first of all. 47% of buyers started their process online looking at properties for sale. 86% of the time they went to Zillow or Realtor.com. You know, I know Zillow, the Zestimate. Look, I asked Santa Claus this year for a new airplane and a pilot's license. And he said, I'd rather give you a Zillow estimate. It's not near as, it's harder to get you that sale price number. You see where I'm coming from here. Okay, so 18% of buyers started by contacting a real estate agent. Well, where did those real estate agents come from? They found, so they found them through referrals, you guys. They found them through referrals. They found them through referrals. And if you didn't hear me, they found them through referrals. If you're not communicating with your database consistently, regularly, honestly, and often, you're missing your opportunities. 86% of people are telling us we're useful. That's good. Considering they don't trust us, they still consider our information useful. Remember, if you've taken the ethics class that I teach for your ethics certification, we talk about the fact that we're ranked down there with attorneys and congressmen as how much people trust us. That's because of the low-hanging fruit that's out there. Be better. Be better. I loved this one. Buyers typically search for 10 weeks and looked at a median of 5 homes. How many of you wrote offers on at least 5 homes and within about 4 or 5 weeks of working with somebody and probably lost it out to a bidding war? I had one scenario that a buddy of mine had a listing in Trayburn listed for $1.2 million. His client made an offer of 1.7 with 200,000 in due diligence, 200,000 in earnest money, and his buyer lost the bidding war with almost 200,000 non-refundable up. 60% of your searches were done on a mobile device. If your website is not mobile friendly or you don't have a solid app, you're missing opportunity. Only 34% of us old people actually still use the desktop or the laptop. Guilty as charged, sorry, but I can't read it on that little bitty screen. So I'm dealing with that. And this is the other one that I love. 91% of people satisfied with their home buying purchase. Unfortunately, they're only somewhat satisfied, not completely. So again, 86% of buyers purchased their home through a real estate agent or broker, and 10% bought for sale by owners. I don't know what happened to the other 4%. I didn't get that information, okay? But here's what you need to know. Here's your job. Here is your job description. If I'm telling people this is what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to say, I'm going to help you find properties that fit in your price range that you can qualify for that are in the best resale areas. If you've never taken my session on the 3 questions to ask people, would it be helpful to you if I could provide you a list of all the homes in your price range along with details and photos of the property? Would it be helpful if I could show you which of those were overpriced? And would it be helpful if I could show you which of the remaining homes were in the best resale areas? Those are the 3 questions. If you haven't taken that class, you need to sign up for those classes down the road. That's one of my training sessions through Brian Pate seminars. 38% used an agent referred by a friend, neighbor, or relative. 10% found an agent while inquiring about a specific property. Your signs are not creating the opportunities for closings as much as they used to. You need to be dependent on receiving referrals from friends and family. If you are not working your database, you are missing the opportunity. What percentage of buyers would be willing to use their agent again? What percentage of buyers would be willing to use their agent again? Pull out that phone and give me an answer. What percentage? I'm going to give you about 7 or 8 more seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, gang. 89% of buyers would use their agent again. 67% of buyers only interviewed one agent. That means you got to be first. That's why your referrals are so important. Anybody else go to a restaurant and you hear the table next to you talking about buying a house and you go, you look like a meerkat looking over to the table next to you? Yeah, we all do it. It's okay. That's your job. It's what we live for. All right, let's try this one. What percentage of home, but we told you 89% would use the same agent again. How many actually did? Put your answer on here. Go to your phones. Going to count it down. Here we go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, how in the world did 89% of home buyers say they would use the same agent again and only 12% of them actually did? You know who that's on? Everybody take your thumbs and put them out like this. Take your Jay, put them now, point them back this way. That's on you, gang. That's on you. That means you're not communicating with your clients. So in the words of Bob Newhart, for those of you that are old enough to remember it, Bobby Carroll, I'm talking to you. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. All right. The typical home seller last year was 60 years old. Our sellers are getting older by average. Most of the time they're moving closer to grandkids, or they're moving to the final property, or their neighborhoods become less desirable. Pretty consistent like it has been. Again, the final sales price was at 100% of the final listing price. That's the highest number since 2002. We showed you those numbers a little earlier. And 91% of the sellers were at least somewhat satisfied with the selling process. So why didn't they send you another referral while they were selling? Because you forgot to ask. The best people to ask for referral is not past clients. It's the people that are going through the experience with you right now. So stop waiting. Stop being scared. I had one client years ago. I used to hand him a business card every time I saw him face to face. And he finally looked at me. He called me one day. He says, I finally got a referral from you, so you can quit handing me those cards. Keep doing it, guys. Keep doing it. So let's look into Brian's crystal ball and let me show you some things. I want to go through a couple of things. This is 10,000 foot thinking here. So keep an eye out here as we're going through this. Number 1, Ukraine. If war breaks out in Ukraine and the United States gets involved, all bets are off on everything. Now, typically and historically, we have seen the economic impact, the short-term economic impact has been really good, but down the road we pay for it with a recession. So if we do get involved in the war in Ukraine, which is still possible, you guys, I don't want to see it. I'm not a warmonger or anything, but it seems like we're getting pulled and pulled and pulled. And it's not that I don't trust our folks. It's this. I don't trust Vladimir Putin. That's all it is. But if we start going through war in Ukraine, total unpredictability is what we're going to face. So we talked a little bit earlier. Melissa was talking about inflation. So just so you guys are clear, mortgage rates do not follow the Fed rate. Mortgage rates, say it to yourself, mortgage rates don't follow the Fed rate. They follow inflation rates. If you look and you track mortgage rates and inflation rates on the same chart, they're going at the same rate. So keep an eye on that as it's going through. We're as lower monthly numbers in the first and second quarter of this year replace the higher numbers from last year, the inflation rates are going to go down. The government is still saying their target is 2%. I'm not sure that we're ever going to see 2% inflation again. I'd be thrilled to see it, but I don't think we're going to see that. I'm expecting mortgage rates. You know, Melissa talked a little about her thoughts, and Alex mentioned hers. I agree with them that I think the days of 3% and 2% are gone permanently. I don't know that we'll ever see that again. I do think that we might see some low fives by the end of summer, and we may even see some companies with high fours. When that happens, all of these people that have bought in 2022 are going to be in refinance mode. So make you an Excel spreadsheet with your client and that bought from you in 2022 and look at what their interest rates are. You could score massive brownie points by sending them to Melissa or Alex and getting a refinance in place probably by the middle of summer at this point. And their reaction is going to be, well, we just did the financing. Yes, but you can now drop your rate from 6.75 or to 7.25 all the way down into the mid fives. That's a massive savings, as you saw with that slide that Melissa showed us earlier. Again, I just don't expect rates to be below 4% ever again. If they may, but I just don't see the logistics of that happening. So for those of you that don't know, this guy with the glasses on, this is Jerome Powell. He's a dirty, rotten so-and-so. Every time he opens his mouth, the stock market jumps and drops and becomes as volatile as it ever did. He said over a year ago in March, before interest rates started jumping, he said, we have to take advantage and make people stop buying houses and cars. Well, guess what? Have you looked at the car lots lately? You're starting to see more cars on the new car lot. We're also beginning to see inventory hiking in the real estate business. The one difference, they're going to continue to hike rates here over the next couple of months, but I think they're going to be 25 to 50 basis points instead of the 75 basis points that we have been seeing. For those of you that don't know, a basis point is 1/100th of a percent. So if interest rates go from 6 to 6.25, that is a 25 basis point jump. Okay, just in case you didn't know that. The big problem with this is the Fed left rates way too low for way too long. Rates should have been going up in 2018, 19, and 20. We should have already been in the 3 range, so that at the Fed rate, so that mortgage rates were in the 4.5 to 5 range. They didn't do that, and now we're suffering the consequences. That's a combination of administration influence, it's a combination of financial influence, and it's a combination of nobody wants to be responsible for interest rates going up because it pisses people off, bottom line. New construction. For those of you that don't know, inventory is not just about, JC, say hello to that young man for me. That's adorable. The inventory is a situation, folks, where it's not just about what's for sale, what's on the market, what's our supply versus demand. Inventory, every year there are about 100,000 homes that come out of ownership. They burn, they are torn down to build something new. There's a whole bunch of different reasons for this to happen. It could be fire, tear down, weather damage, whatever. But it's the job of new construction and developers to build those new properties. Okay. Now, in relation to that, approximately 100,000 homes were moved a year. There were 4.6 million homes built nationally in 2022. We really need to average 6.5 to 7 million for 4 to 6 years in order to catch up with the inventory that we've lost. Remember, I showed you from 2010 to 2017, we weren't selling, but maybe 25 to 30,000 homes a year. But new construction was a very low percentage of that. And I'm going to show you you a spreadsheet for that here in just a few minutes. But it also has to do with the migration patterns. So all of this comes together, folks. For those of you that have taken a class with me before, you know that my grandfather, Martinez Baker, I called him Papa. Papa used to have a saying. He said, it's not the opportunity of a lifetime if you don't have the cash to take advantage of it. So if you are thinking of investing yourself, this is the year to do it. This is the year to do it because home prices are going to continue to increase. We've shown you that already, and I'm going to show you a couple of other Excel spreadsheets when we finish with the presentation here. But the opportunities are going to be there. So with that said, let me try to help you get some business this year. It's time for tweetables. All right. So these are my favorite pieces. These are the things that we're going to give you to use. And I'm almost finished here. I know some of you may have an appointment to go to, so I apologize, but I'm still going here. So stick with me. First of all, true or false? The average in 2023, the average person will have more conversation with bots than with their spouse or significant other. True or false? How many of you realize how many bots you're talking to every day? Yeah, we are going to have more conversation with bots this year than I will with my wife. That's the sad part. Okay, and she, just for the record, she's much hotter than the bots are. Just I want to make that clear. What percentage of the world's population is under 30 years old? Folks, the youngsters are taking over. The Gen Z or generation. They're not Generation Y. They're Generation Why not? Tell them they can't do something, their first question is, why not? Anybody else got an 18 to 23-year-old right now? Yeah, I'm just calling my children Google because they know it all, or at least they think they do. So just look at your kid, go, thank you, Google, every time they argue with you. So this, again, these slides, I'm going to give you copies of these, you guys. I'm going to have them available for you. This one will be available via an email in just a little bit. But in 2023, 50% of the world's population is under 30. Look at the African continent. Look at the African continent, the number of people that are young there. There are people, families in the United States are getting smaller. We're seeing an average of about 1.7 kids per family, where 20 years ago it was 2.4. Our children, if you're a Gen Xer like me, or if you're one of the older millennials, by the way, millennials begin to turn 43 years old this year. So more than half of the millennials are eligible to be president of the United States, and more than 3/4 of them will be eligible to be president before the next election. Just let that sink in, and let's think about that one for a moment. The average attention of a goldfish is 8 seconds. What is the average attention span of an adult human? See how you do on this one. Yeah, you guys are cheating. You're reading the next slide. It's 7 seconds. 7 seconds, okay? So I'm not going to do any more with the phone, but I am going to give you some slides. You can take a picture of these slides if you want, because you may want to jump on this and get it out there quicker than I can get it to you, okay? So here's my first one. Today's college freshmen have no recollection of the recession of 2006 through 2009, and they have never licked a postage stamp. Think about that one for a minute, okay? I see you, Calvin, laughing at that one. Yeah, it's one of those. All right, the next one may be the scariest statistic I have for you today. That is that 1 in 3 people surveyed would rather give up sex than their cell phone. You people need to go to hell. You should rot in hell for answering that. Just telling you, not everybody's as lucky as me, but that's a different discussion. Over 90% of buying decisions are influenced by social media. If you do not have your social media game on point and you're not targeting the right audience, if you are trying to target 25 to 35-year-olds through Facebook, you are wasting money. You are wasting money. By the way, this is Brian's statement of the day, okay? Please, 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 nobody cares how long you've been in the real estate business. Nobody cares how much volume you sold last year, and nobody cares if you just won an award for the month. What the client that you're trying to market to cares about is, what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me? So stop it. Stop being just like everybody else. When everybody's doing it, you're not standing out. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, my last gross stat of the day: more people in the world own a mobile device than own a toothbrush. Yuck. That is nasty, just for the record. Makes me want to go brush my teeth right now just thinking about it. All right. So that's the end of my presentation. It's time to get the band back together. We're going to bring everybody back up, and I'm going to shut off my screen share. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your time. I hope you had a good time. I'm going to be posting some links into the chat box in just a moment once I stop sharing my screen, and it's going to be downloadables of some of the graphs that I've given you. If you need anything else from me, please feel free to email me at brian@paterealty.com. By the way, remember that you are a realtor, not a realtor, okay? I was on WRAL last week and met with the girl and explained to her over and over again, it's realtor, realtor, realtor. And then she broadcasted on the story. She says, realtor Brian Pate. I'm like, okay, surrender. But just remember, know what you're doing. Become more knowledgeable. Just because you're only required to take 8 hours of CE every year doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in as many classes as you can. Thank you for taking your time out to listen to me today, and I am finished running my mouth. So I will stop my share here. I will turn it back over to the lovely and talented Nicole Walker.